Hello and welcome to Beer League Bench Warmers, the podcast recorded from the bench of a football team that hasn't yet noticed that we're trespassing. Today, we're talking actually about sports, so don't expect to hear my voice a lot. We got Bills game recap, NFL awards, Sabres lines, as hypothesized by our hockey experts, Sean and Jake, and a discussion about ads in the NHL.
Shade towards Rick. Rick's a hockey expert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knows hockey.
Okay, well, then he'll have some good thoughts. That's good. So how about that Bills game? I hear they did okay.
My heart's still racing.
That's a hell of a game. Pretty sure.
I actually caught the end of it. I was like, oh my God, there's 2 minutes left. And then it was actually 15 minutes or so. But
Yeah, because of the review and all that.
yeah,
The review took a very long time, and it was still a wrong review.
Yes.
Easily wrong.
Definitely missed call.
No, it was a good game. I mean, any win's a good win, but be interesting next week. I hope I'm go Steelers. I don't want to play the Ravens or the Titans.
Right? Yeah, you already beat the Steelers.
Yeah, and we just got ran over by two different running backs on one team, and I don't want to face Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson to run us over.
Right. Yeah, and one of them was a rookie running. This one was a rookie running back this week.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Taylor there.
Yep. So, yeah, it was a good game. I mean, it had its ups and downs. It was a hell of a playoff game. Seemed like it was
That's
scorching.
intensity.
better ones out of the three. But I will admit, it was weird because I was going into the weekend. I was like, oh, the Bills are going to win. They're clearly the better team on paper. They should have blown them out. But anyways, they didn't. But going into the weekend,
the crowd confused them.
Could have. That's no more fans.
The Bills suck with fans.
They're worse with fans than without this season. But anyways, going into this week, I'm like, oh, if they win, whatever. It's just another win. And I'm not gonna get emotional, all that shit. They won. I got teary-eyed.
That's crying. Yeah.
It's so pathetic, but it's just this is the first I've ever witnessed this.
Yeah.
I've never witnessed them win. Last time they won, I was 4 years old. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
This is the last time I've witnessed any type of playoff success.
Yeah,
and
I still remember the stupid miracle.
I remember that.
See, I wasn't big into sports at that point.
What's the Tennessee Miracle?
Music City Miracle.
Music City Miracle, 1999.
Bills were up. They got a winning score. They kick it off. Yes, in the playoffs,
okay.
in wild card. They kick it off to the Houston Oilers. Or was it to the Tennessee Titans?
Tennessee Titans.
Just Tennessee.
It was their first year in the league.
So they kick it off to the Tennessee Titans. Guy runs it off to the right side of the field. Then he laterals it over to the left side. And then the guy streaks up and scores. Game-winning, walk-off. Which is all fine, except for a lateral you have to throw behind you.
It
was, to me, clear as day. The guy threw it from...
Forward.
It was one of the 10-yard line markers, so it went across behind you. You can tell. It goes all the way across the field. So it's easy to get. He threw it behind it, and the guy caught it in front of the line. Therefore, it's a forward lateral. Should have been a flag. Should have been nullified. Should have been game over.
He threw it behind him, but the wind took it forward.
Fuck you, Kyle.
Regardless.
I don't know.
It was the same year as the no goal.
Yeah.
Oh my God, poor Buffalo. Oh man.
Yeah, and then didn't Tennessee go on to make it to the Super Bowl that year, and then lose by a yard to the Rams?
Yeah.
So, are you guys predicting heartbreak this year for the Bills?
Define heartbreak.
I'm
not expecting Super Bowl.
Okay.
But if they lost yesterday, that would have been heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because last year they lost, and the only thing anybody ever talks about is Josh Allen, him trying to lateral the ball.
Yeah.
And so going into the offseason or the entire season, talking about him being MVP, they're like, oh well, he's trying to lateral balls in the fucking playoffs, blah 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 blah. Well, last night or yesterday afternoon, he takes a 20-yard loss that he fumbled on and almost lost, and that almost lost the game. Yeah. So I'm just like, this play is going to be the new lateral. But luckily they pulled it out. They got the win, so maybe people won't fixate on it. But the way that they've been this season, in my mind, if they don't make it to the AFC Championship, it's a disappointment.
Oh yeah,
because they were
Going
talked about,
13-3.
especially the second half of the season, as either being the best team in the league or the second best team in the league. Not the AFC, but the league.
They were the hottest team in the league coming into the playoffs.
Yeah.
They'd won, 6 in a row or 7 in a row after the
Eight,
That's
Hail
rare,
Murray.
yeah.
Was it 8?
7. No, 7. If they won on the Hail Murray, which
Then
I
it
hate
would've
that they
been,
didn't call it Hail Murray. If they won that, they would have
Hail
won.
Murray.
It would have been
Because
like
that
11 in a row.
quarterback named Kyler Murray threw a Hail Mary, and they got it.
He's now a religious figure, whether he wants to be or not.
Oh,
I
it's
didn't
just the way
realize
to play
that-
the ball.
I didn't realize Indy had 11 wins too. I'm like, holy cow, they actually had a
Mhm.
decent year, and they didn't
They
win the
beat
division.
Packers.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that last week came down to them or the Titans.
I think
That week 17 actually had implications to both of them.
it was all the teams that came out of the AFC this year had at least 11 wins.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Dolphins missed it. They had 10.
Tennessee
That's
would have been
crazy.
the lowest seed if they had 11.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was a good game. Allen
It was.
played amazing.
He did.
But he
I
About
was
90%
worried.
of the yards.
I was worried there for a little bit because in the first half, Diggs had 3 targets and 1 catch for like 24 yards.
Still had 30 some odd yards, but yeah, the second half he definitely
And then
turned
he
on.
he opened up like
That 35-yard touchdown.
gorgeous. I was like,
Thank
holy
you.
shit. Yeah, you're welcome.
Jefferson would be amazing too, but
I
right
like
now,
Jefferson.
right now,
I
thank
still
you.
miss Diggs. It was another Vikings jersey gone to waste because he's
Change
not
his
on the team
plate.
anymore.
Oh, okay.
Gabe
All right,
Davis.
so
Gabe
I don't know
Davis
what.
won that game.
Oh yeah.
That final drive in this first half. Yeah, those two toe taps that were
Mhm.
so good that the refs had to look at it twice.
Twice. They're like, look,
They
you
were
can see the
amazing.
pellets.
Yeah, those are amazing. Great way to step up as a rookie.
For
One
sure.
of the
And now
better
they got
rookie receivers that doesn't get talked about either.
now for the first time in Bill's recent history, we have playoff experience.
Well, I mean, they had playoff experience last year.
Losing,
Winning
experience. That
Yes.
goes far.
especially because it was
that
so tight at the end there.
And that was the one thing that the guys calling the game were like, they talked to Josh Allen and he goes, yeah, the pressure was on me last year. He goes, I tensed up. And then they're talking about him today. He goes, he looks so calm and collective. Like he doesn't feel like he's under any pressure at all. I'm like,
It's because he changed his music.
oh yeah.
No, but like legit, this is what he credits it to. Is he used to listen to a bunch of rap and like high energy music. Now he listens to a lot of like Sinatra and a lot more relaxing music to calm himself down.
Yes, he
Like,
talked about that on Pat McAfee's show.
Sugar High Josh Allen is what I think Good Morning Football America calls him. Because he'd go hero ball, and a lot of times he gets screwed over. He'd go full Brett Favre. You never go full Brett Favre.
All right. But yeah, it was a good game. When do they play next week? Do we know?
We don't know. We won't know until after. If the Steelers win to the Browns, then we will be playing
Sunday
The
night.
Steelers.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the Browns beat the Steelers, then we will be playing either the winner of Tennessee or Baltimore.
Okay.
Right, because it's seeding, right?
Yes.
So
we'll
And they get
play-
an extra day of recovery because they played early. So that's cool.
Yeah, we'll play the highest remaining seeding, and Kansas City will be playing the lowest remaining seeding. So it sucks because really the game that it hinges on is the Steelers-Browns game, and I believe that's the late game.
That's the night game.
If that was the first game, then we pretty much know the outcome by 4 o'clock. But now we have to wait until 11 o'clock midnight tonight,
Yeah.
depending on your time zone.
All right. So what's this NFL awards?
I
How about that segue?
You act stupid. Like they have awards.
Well, Kyle, the NFL awards are given to players at the end of the year.
Holy
So,
crap.
the best at their position.
Okay. Like MVP of the
Yes.
year, rookie
Yep.
of the year.
Yes. Same thing
Okay.
like any other league.
I really have not been paying attention this year. It's been other things have been taking my time.
All right, then how about you pick an award and we'll give you our winners. Ricky, do you have some in mind?
Oh god.
Of winners, I got a couple. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
NFL awards? Like what are Is there a list somewhere?
Yeah, I'll start. How about MVP? Start at the
MVP.
very top. Who's your MVP for this year?
I'm saying Aaron Rodgers. What do you have? 48 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He had stellar year. Honestly, I thought it came out of nowhere. I didn't expect him. I honestly thought they'd be on a downward spiral with their new coach. So I thought he had
got a list.
pretty good year, and it irks me to say that I have to say Aaron Rodgers is the best player in the league this year. So
What about you, Ricky?
Yeah, I was gonna pick Aaron Rodgers as well.
That's what I got too. I got Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen's been having an MVP-like season. Same thing. And Derrick Henry. But Rodgers is just you had his rushing touchdowns. I think he's got 51 total touchdowns to like 7 turnovers, including fumbles and interceptions. Like that's where Josh Allen, he's got 46 total touchdowns and he's got like 16 turnovers, including interceptions and fumbles. Like the touchdown to turnover ratio is just absurd.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, he's doing it outside of Devonta Adams with a subpar receiving core.
Yeah, well, most of his receivers were out. You had Devontae Smith-Pelly or whatever. He was out. He was hurt. You had
Smith-Pelly's a hockey player.
Or not Smith. Who's that?
That's how bad his receiving core is.
Who the hell was that?
Scantling.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Valdez Scantling. And then
Lazard or whatever.
Lazard was out most of the year. That Robert Tonyan was came out of nowhere guy. I think that's his tight end.
That's to me, his receiving core is more subpar than say Josh Allen's. So to me, for him to put up those numbers with a worse receiving core means that he's the valuable player.
Mm-hmm.
Where to Josh Allen, he's gotten a hell of a lot better. But it has to do with Diggs getting better, and you got a great young receiver in Davis as well.
Yep. Having a go-to guy in Cole Beasley.
Mahomes.
So would he also be
he's got such all-pro receiving core that you put Chad Henne in there like you did, and he still won. You still did really good.
When you have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce who almost
Sammy Watkins, a former top 10 pick. You got Le'Veon Bell coming out your backfield.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's putting up great numbers. I'm not going to try to take him away from that, but you got to take it all.
Yep. You got to put in that factor for sure.
All right, Kyle. Next award.
Would he also be offensive player of the year?
I don't have him.
I don't have him for that either.
My offensive player of the year, I would want Derrick Henry. I think it's going to go to Travis Kelce though. I'll say this too. I think the MVP should go to Deshaun Watson. But for his numbers, he's top 3 in every single category. But because his team didn't do good, he's not going to be considered, which is the biggest flaw where MVP, you should not care about the rest of your team.
Well, you have over 4,800 yards passing. He led the league in
passing. He had absurd numbers, absolutely absurd numbers. It's just his team let him down. But anyways, offensive player of the year, Derrick Henry should be it. But they're going to give it to Travis Kelce because he's a tight end. They put up 1,400 yards, which is just not fair to do in this day and age is offense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it'll probably go to Kelce, but it's not a running backs league anymore. And you had Derrick Henry put up 2,000 plus yards. He had how many games where he had over 200 rushing yards and how many touchdowns in a game? He was an elite company for that stat. I think it's his 5th in his career, and he's in there with LaDainian Tomlinson and Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith. It's
he did something that only 7 other people have ever done.
Yeah.
Ever in the 100 plus years of the league or whatever it's been.
101.
Yeah.
101. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I think it should go to Derrick Henry, especially since, I'm not really all sold on Tannehill. He's does well when he needs to, but Derrick Henry carried that team all year.
Tannehill's Chad Pennington from the early 2000s. No knock on Chad Pennington, but it's your game manager that can make good throws when you need to.
He's par, if that.
He was super close with 3 games left to break in that 2,100 yard record, but he had it was week 15. I think he didn't have the greatest. I mean, as far as not having the greatest, he rushed for 98 yards. But
Which is
after
still
that,
good.
Oh yeah, and then he busted the last 2 games. He had over 100 yards, but I mean, he was close to hitting that 2,100 mark.
Something in the water in Tennessee, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think out of the 8 players that have 8 players that have had 2,000 yards, I think 3 of them came from Tennessee.
Yep.
Is that who your offensive player of the year is, Ricky?
Yeah, it was gonna be Derrick Henry.
It's gonna go to Kelsey because while Derrick Henry is one of 8 people to ever do it, Kelsey's one of 1 tight ends to ever have 1,400 yards.
Yeah, he was almost. Wasn't he leading the league in receiving yards for a bit?
For a little bit, yeah. And then some guy from Buffalo did really good.
Never
But he's not used as a prototypical tight end, and that's there's gonna be tight ends that break 1,400. It should be Derrick Henry, especially like Sean said. It's a passing league. To have 2,000 yards rushing in this day and age is just crazy.
Maybe 10 years ago when LaDainian Tomlinson and Priest Holmes and Sean Alexander, were the running backs in the league that were dominating the league, but now it's totally different.
You agree, Kyle?
Oh, yeah. I have. Yeah.
Good answer.
So the most important award, clearly, is
so important you got to squint to read it.
The sporting executive of the year, to the one who's put together the best. No, you don't have to. I'm joking.
I'll gladly do it. I think it's Buffalo Bills.
Really?
I think that's clearly his.
Oh yeah.
I mean, actually, to be fair, this year the executive decisions were probably more important than a lot of previous years because there's so many challenges to overcome, and you have to have backups. You have to have be ready.
He bolstered an offense and didn't have a single outbreak.
That's pretty cool.
There, done.
Pretty impressive.
You added the number 1 receiver in the entire league statistically for chump change, really. I mean, it was a first round pick was the biggest thing we lost. Outside of that, we even got a 7th rounder in return as well. That turned out to be our 5th cornerback on our depth chart, who has a couple picks on the year. But we didn't have a single outbreak, so obviously management's doing some good job. There have been cases, but there hasn't been an outbreak like there was in Tennessee twice, or Cleveland right now, or anything like that.
This is the worst time for that.
Yeah, Baltimore. Pretty much anybody that's facing Pittsburgh, it seems like. they've had it happen now 4 times.
4 times.
Damn.
Baltimore twice, Tennessee, and now Cleveland.
I'm curious if you guys have a comeback player of the year, though. That is a player who showed significant.
Unanimous across the entire league.
Is it?
Alex Smith.
What happened to
He
Alex
almost
Smith?
died.
He almost lost his leg and he almost died.
He had to do experimental surgery that had to be approved by the United States Army to be able to do it.
Oh,
and his
okay.
cast was literally just metal all around his leg. He should not be alive.
Kyle, this is something that you're
absolutely right. This is definitely something
you guys should look into.
Because he was getting infections and stuff from his surgeries he was getting.
He has
what's his name?
That's the size of
Alex Smith. It's as generic of a name as you can find.
I'll look him up later.
Of his leg. In his
oh man, screw leg. You have a weak stomach, Kyle. You might not be able to take it.
I can look at medical stuff. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe.
That was even the
if he's not the comeback player of the year, then I don't know who would be.
Then the award should go in the garbage.
Pretty much.
So defensive player of the year. Defense wins championships. There's a championship coming up or so, I hear. So who's the defensive player of the year?
I got Darnold or Donald.
Darnold. Sorry. Donald the Duck.
Not Sam Darnold. Aaron. That Aaron Darnold from the Rams.
Why is he good?
Why is he good? Because he gets doubled and triple teamed off of the line and still gets double-digit sacks. He had more sacks than TJ Watt. He had more forced fumbles than TJ Watt. TJ Watt only beat him on tackles and interceptions, and that's because he's a linebacker.
TJ Watt did have a good year.
I'm not trying to take anything, but those two will be in most cases it's a two-headed race for awards, and except for Alex Smith. But for this award, it would be TJ Watt or Darnold, and I think TJ Watt had subpar stats compared to
There is one other guy I'm going to throw into the mix. Is that
Xavier Howard
for
Miami.
Miami.
10 interceptions,
10
I believe.
interceptions. Pretty impressive.
That is
But
impressive.
I will say I am saying Aaron Donald also.
Yeah, 10 picks is nice, but that
What did Tre'Davious White have last year? Him and Stephon Gilmore were like neck
I think
and neck. I think
8 to 9.
Yeah, and then Gilmore had 11. So I mean, yeah,
Or
that's
something, yeah.
very impressive for sure. But yeah, when it comes down to it, you got a guy that can control the defense the way that he does, and the pressure that he gets on these quarterbacks, and like just watching last night's game, the way that he was all over Russell Wilson.
He had 2 sacks in the first half.
Yeah, and then he ended up getting hurt and still came back and played, but then was out again. But he just the pressure and the intensity that you get on a quarterback to have him even just a miscue throw, it blows my mind how well that dude
It's in their head too, probably.
Oh, for sure. They're anticipating that they're going to get smacked by this guy that's coming at them. And
Huge
tell you this,
motherfucker.
I would want it.
Josh Allen ran at him when they played them, and it's just like, you're a retard, dude. Like, I probably shouldn't use that word.
No.
You're not smart. But it was not a smart play at all.
All right, the one I really.
Who's your
Sorry?
defensive player of the year, Rick?
I said TJ Watt.
I'm sorry.
Do you have any
Good choice, for
follow-up
sure.
arguments to refute Jake?
No, I'm good.
Bring it on, Sleepy.
Boom.
He's saving his energy for later against Sean.
Yeah, he's getting that energy saved for.
All right, yeah, that's true. The ads talk. So the one I really want to know is who is the Super Bowl MVP?
It was Patrick Mahomes, but Super Bowl.
No, we haven't played the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's why I want to know, because that'll tell me a lot of information about who's in it and probably who won.
If the Bills win, it would probably be Josh Allen. If the Kansas City Chiefs win, it would probably be Mahomes.
Okay. But anyways, what about Rookie of the Year? And then I think there's one more that the Coach of the Year.
And
or we can do
We did
There's
defensive rookie.
offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year. Which one do you want to do, Mr. Kyle Plus?
it's the premium Kyle. All right, let's do offensive, I guess.
I got Herbert.
Yeah, that's who I have too. He broke almost every record as a rookie. Like, can't dodge that. I think he was like 45 yards away from breaking the passing
Like-
record too for a rookie.
Oh.
But I will say this: was it last year that Baker Mayfield, or 2 years ago that Baker Mayfield was a rookie?
Too. Yeah.
He broke the record for passing touchdowns, and they gave it to Saquon Barkley. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but Herbert crushed it.
Oh,
for
dude,
one.
destroyed it.
For two, he didn't even start the whole season, which I guess Mayfield really didn't either. But his first NFL start, he was told at
Hey,
the
you're-
coin toss of
You're
the
in.
game, hey, Tyrod got his lung punctured. You're playing now against the defending Super Bowl champions, who are the biggest powerhouses that we've ever seen in the NFL. Good luck. And then he took him to overtime. And-
Overtime to say he kept pace with them. Yeah.
Yes. That's it. To me, I mean, if I had to give it to somebody else, it'd be obviously Justin Jefferson, but I think it's Herbert's to lose.
All right.
What about you, Rick?
I was gonna pick Chase Claypool. I think he was very because of Herbert and Tua. I think that he was a quiet guy. I mean, he had 11 touchdowns. I think he didn't hit the 1,000 yards, but I mean, the Steelers
He had a
kinda-
lot of touchdowns.
yeah, Steelers died there by week 12 or whatever, week 13. So
Well, you say he's got the record for most touchdowns in a game by a rookie with 4. So
That's I think
Pretty-
week 9 or week 10, he was 10 for 10 at that point.
yeah, that's pretty impressive.
yeah, he was good. It was just I mean, Herbert obviously made a lot of talk, but I think it was more because he was a quarterback than any other position why people were talking about him more. So
Same thing with the MVP. It's a quarterback trophy.
Mhm.
Like they shouldn't MVP shouldn't be an MVP anymore. It should just be best quarterback.
Do they have best offensive player that's not a quarterback?
That's usually the offensive player.
Player of the year.
That's why.
Oh, is that why that's separate? Okay.
Hey, quick question. Where did Chase Claypool go to school?
Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, where a lot of people, you know what?
He didn't know that Notre
I'll
Dame
keep my
existed.
comments to myself. I've known one Notre Dame alum, and he cheated on his girlfriend for a guy. That's all I gotta say. So
Was he there when it burned down? I know
That's
I've made
in-
this joke before.
That's in France.
Sorry.
now.
I just like that joke. Anyways, maybe he helped put out the fire.
even my
Anyways.
cat didn't appreciate that joke.
Yeah,
I like bad jokes. What can I say?
I'm
Claypool
his dad,
is
and I
from
don't even
Canada.
approve of that.
Yes, he is.
He's from Canada. He didn't know when he was offered a scholarship to play at Notre Dame. He actually had to find out he didn't know if that was a good football program or not, because he didn't know anything about American sports. Or American
That's fair.
That makes a lot of sense.
not.
They call it
All right,
football there, though, I'm pretty sure.
Defensive rookie of the year. do you got?
Sure.
I'm saying Chase Young.
Yeah,
That dude is.
I agree.
That dude's gonna be
Yeah, that's who I was gonna
good. He's gonna be an elite defensive
What
end.
position
like
is he?
these other guys
Defensive end.
Okay.
going forward. He's gonna be in the mix with Aaron
Like-
Donald and JJ Watt and what's his name, Myles Garrett. Those you're gonna be hearing Washington's team for defense is gonna be a stellar defense here going forward.
Kyle, he plays the same position as Morse did in NCAA.
Oh, yeah.
I knew
okay.
you knew you'd know that.
That's a fun one. You get
Yeah.
to sack the quarterback a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you turn offsides off, you can just run in and
Run at the
measure the
fucking
wall.
run at the
You can turn
the
off
invisible
sides
wall.
off in a football game.
Yeah, we did that.
Just do that all the
Oh my
time.
god.
They
Yeah,
get an
that's
automatic
crazy.
sack when the ball snapped.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
already at a full sprint.
Yeah.
Are there
like
like is there
Cheating's
like
not a good thing to do, kids.
is there like street football rules where there are no
We're a
rules?
street football game.
That was a great game.
You
The
run on
only
wall.
rule is don't talk about street football club. Anyways, coach of the year.
Your jokes are just going down.
Getting worse.
Yep.
They're not jokes. They're just
Comments.
words that come out of my mouth. Don't pay them mind. What's the coach of the year?
I got Stefanski. I got
that's a good
Stefanski in
one.
Cleveland.
That
Who
is
do you
good
got, Sean?
too. I said McDermott. It's definitely a huge turnaround. Yeah, they made the playoffs last year, but to have them excel and win the division the way they did this year and pretty much stride for stride with almost every opponent. And even Kansas City, yeah, it was a tough game that they lost, but it was weather conditions, barely lost to Arizona. I can't even think who the other one they lost to.
Arizona, Kansas City, Tennessee.
Tennessee, that's right. And Tennessee, yeah, that was
Tennessee,
difficult,
they were
for
preparing
sure.
for two different teams because of the whole outbreak. They didn't know which
That's
team they were
true.
playing. Kansas City, they got thumped. I don't care that it was a one-score game. They were absolutely annihilated the entire game. They got ran over by about 300 plus yards against them.
Oh yeah. That's what
So they got crushed. Yeah, the Hail Murray, whatever. But I
Hail Murray full of girths.
who shut up, Kyle. Who's your
Sorry.
trick?
I was gonna go Ron Rivera. Despite the team sucked. The entire NFC East sucked, but making the playoffs, winning the champion or the division, and having cancer, going through all of that, getting the IVs at halftime and during the game and all that. So, I think it was a bit different. I will say this though: did you guys see who's going to be calling plays for the Browns?
I knew you'd love it. I want you to
What's
say
his name is it's COVID, right?
Stefanski's got COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, Alex Van Pelt.
Yeah.
The
Oh!
ultimate backup will be calling plays.
I saw the name. It was like, oh, Rick's got to be in his glory.
Oh yeah, Alex Van Pelt.
I will say Rivera is a good choice, and just because of the off the field stuff. I just can't give the coach of the year to a coach that has a losing record.
Yeah, it's a very
I
bad team.
And with McDermott, I think he benefited. Obviously, I think the whole Bills did for Brady not being in the division to win the division. I think we still would have won. Then instead of being 13-3, we might have been at 10-6 and won it, and Patriots would have been 9-7 or something like that.
So
With
I don't-
Cleveland, my opinion on Cleveland is they got to the playoffs obviously for the first time in 17 years, I think it was 18, and two of their three other division rivals are in the playoffs as well. So that the whole division is tough as shit.
Yeah.
And they still got in and had the best season that they've had in 20 years. So they've had to deal with COVID outbreaks. They lost their number one receiver. I think he should be gone. Odell Beckham Jr.
Yep.
So I think to me it's Stefanski. McDermott would be number two. And then I would have I can't even think of his name, the Miami coach.
Was that Flowers?
Oh, Flores.
Flores,
Brian
yeah,
Flores.
yeah.
That's it.
He'd be my number 3 option.
Yeah, I mean,
and
they
then
had a pretty
Rivera.
good year too.
Yeah.
With pretty much
Oh.
nothing around him after a tank year.
I mean, they put a lot of money into the defense. A lot of money on a lot of draft capital. That's why they got 10 wins. I would say 5 of them, their defense literally won it on defensive and special teams touchdowns. Just because they invested about $100 million into their defense side. Kyle, you're trying to say something. Sorry.
Oh, I don't know if this is a good take or not, but from the outside looking in, I would guess the executives have more to do with like preventing catastrophes and making sure they have enough players and stuff, where the coach is more like, oh crap, we have all these problems, like none of these players can play and we don't have a lot of good backups, and trying to make the most of it, because I don't know how much control they have over like protocols for things and for COVID prevention and stuff. But
Yeah. As far as COVID, say outbreaks, when I brought it up for Stefanski, it's got nothing to do with that he prevented it. Obviously, he didn't prevent it because they had outbreaks, but he was able to work around it, work with it, I guess,
Able to adapt.
and still win games and compete.
which is a very important part of coaching, especially this year.
Where like the Bills, they got affected once when their tight end room got it, and they still had I guess they really don't have a number 1 tight end in my eyes, but they had a high product in Tyler Kroft, only because he wasn't in the room because his wife was giving birth, so he was able to get free of that. Where they literally had to play, the Cleveland Browns had to play a game without receivers.
Yeah.
Because their entire receiving room got an outbreak. So
Did
no, they lost. They lost. I think it was a 1-score game, if I remember correctly.
I recall you mentioning they have a good running game, right? So
It's an amazing running game.
They
Yeah,
had the best running game in the league.
they probably did better than they should have.
they could. Yeah, I mean it's him or Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry,
It's
yes.
that team or that one guy in Tennessee.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, when you got a decent 1-2 punch in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, that I can't say no to that. I mean, yeah, Derrick Henry can do it all on his own, but when you got 2 guys that you can rely on to go in there and night out and put up 100 yards easy on their own together, and then.
Yep. Yeah, I can't argue that.
Yep.
So last one,
Cleveland's got promise.
Oh, sorry. Any other thoughts about Coach of the Year? Okay.
No.
So, who do you guys think is going to win the Super Bowl? Put your ass on the line.
Well, I can tell you this: it's anybody's game because I clearly didn't think the Rams were going to beat Seattle yesterday. So,
I mean, you had Wolford as your starting quarterback.
and then he
almost literally had his head taken off.
Yeah.
Then he had to put Jared Goff, whose thumb was
broken
the
thumb.
size of this bottle. I don't know if you saw the picture of him on the sideline, but like his throwing thumb was swollen as fuck.
Yeah, you could see it in some of his throws. They were just ducks.
Seattle, I was just never impressed with though. Even when
Yeah,
the
they've
Bills
been hit or miss all year, but in the playoffs, you never know.
Yeah.
They show up.
You only did
Russell
4
Wilson
good
will throw
games or
4
something,
touchdowns.
right?
Kyle, who do you think's going to win Super Bowl while I'm thinking about it?
I mean, I only know a little bit about a couple of the teams.
Your ass on the line.
I have no reputation. No one knows like Kyle knows sports, but that one time he completely flubbed his Super Bowl pick, so I don't trust him anymore. That's not gonna happen. But I'm gonna go with I guess the Bills, because
There you go.
They've been really good, and it seems like this was going to be the game that the Buffalo catastrophe, that they get the game lost from things outside their control, and that didn't happen. So maybe they're going to be okay. Avoid the
Turn of
Buffalo
the tide.
curse. But I actually have no basis for any of my opinions. So
All right, I can't argue it. What do you think, Sean?
I think it's going to be Green Bay and Kansas City in the Super Bowl. But I think Kansas City will win again.
How about you, Rick?
Yeah, I'm feeling Green Bay, Kansas City. I would love Buffalo to go, but I don't know if they're going to be able to beat Kansas City. It's going to depend on how well Josh Allen plays. Obviously, he's playing hot right now, so that'll determine quite a bit, and see if they can get the run game going to keep Mahomes
get that
off the field.
Sinatra.
Kids
Yeah.
scoring hockey up in the kitchen. I'm going to start off on a high note. I think the Super Bowl matchup will be the Buffalo Bills versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh Jesus!
And then I'll
That'd
end
be
on a low
nice.
note that Tom Brady beats the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl.
That'd be
God.
terrible.
That would be awful.
Oh
And they
man.
become the first team to win it in the hosting city, in their own home city.
Oh my god.
That'd
Then
be
Tom
awesome.
Brady's done. He just retires. So I broke a record that will never be broken again. I'm done.
That would be pretty fitting.
That would suck, dude.
I mean, if you don't think of it from the perspective that everyone hates Tom Brady, if you think of it from the perspective of he's been a historic player, that would be pretty cool.
All right, let's not
No,
get into
I
Brady
can't.
debate because we'll be here all
Okay.
night.
Fair enough. All right, so
becoming a corporate LLC so we can get extra funding from the government.
do you guys
Pittsburgh
want
Penguins.
Shit.
to talk about Sabres lines?
I do.
All right.
Yeah, let's
so-
talk about Sabres lines. I want to go second. I want Sean to go first.
All
All
right,
right, let's
I got
see.
this.
Called it. Called it shotgun.
I don't know how to do this without spoilers, so I'm just gonna try to do it quickly. Just boop. The thing got in the way.
What?
Boop.
I
What
can't
are you
see
talking
Jeff's
about?
lines.
I can't
Alright.
mine either.
All right.
Can you see?
Yeah.
So this is Sean's.
Yeah, this is what I think the starting lines are going to look like for opening night. I think it's kind of straightforward. You got
I have
Michael
pulled my
Hall
lines now.
on the first line, and Skinner, Stahl, and Reinhardt together. Then I kind of went a little bit out of my comfort zone because I was waiting to see how camp would play out on a couple of the moves that the Sabres made, and they had Riley Sheahan for PTO. Well, and they end up signing him, so I think he's going to make the starting night. I think Tage Thompson, I guess, from what I've understood, that he's been playing pretty well in camp and stuff. So I think he'll start, and I'm assuming they're going to start with Tobias Reeder or maybe Cody Eakin there. Just because they signed those guys in the offseason, they're not going to really have them ride the bench yet. Maybe they'll give some of these young guys a chance going forward eventually, but I think you got your start with your veterans, the guys that have been in the league that know how the game goes. And then for the fourth line, Okposo, pretty much that's where he kind of belongs now. But he's actually excelled at that position. So
I can't believe we still have him.
It's
Two
because
more
nobody
years.
wants a fourth line player making $5 million.
Yeah.
Who's the goon on the team?
There really isn't one.
Probably Lazar if you had to pick one.
Yeah, and then
Well, on forward, on defense, you could have McCabe, Ristolainen. That's it.
Okay.
Lazar surprised me last year on how well he actually played. I was kind of shocked. I thought he was just going to be a throw-in guy, and then he ended up having to play with all the injuries we had, and I was quite impressed. Dude's pretty good on face-offs, and then you lost Gergensons for the year, so I think you're going to throw either, like I have Cody Eakin in there. That's who I think our forwards will be. Defense, I'm really hoping that Kruger splits up Dahlin and Risto, because Risto can't play top line minutes. When he doesn't, he plays great. When he does, he's awful. Just makes boneheaded plays. So I'm hoping it's going to be Dahlin and Montour together. They played together a little bit last year. They looked pretty good. And then Risto with Yoki Haru. Yoki Haru would look great for rookie year, I guess they declare it. So I'm excited about that. And then you got, as your third pair with Colin Miller and Jake McCabe. I think McCabe's been there for so long. He's got the tenure, and Miller don't look bad, but I really don't see any more defensemen that you could put in there. And then Allmark and Hutton is your goalies.
Mm.
And then
Is that up for debate? Like, is the goalie? Is that just guaranteed, or?
I'd say Allmark over Hutton all day.
All right.
I mean, Hutton looks okay in camp, but it's camp.
I have no.
He actually looks very good in camp, and he does have a goal.
He does. It
You
wasn't.
think they'll actually cycle him?
I mean, that's
He has a goal. What?
Yeah, he scored in their scrimmage game.
That's awesome. Okay.
Usually that's what they do. They kind of cycle the goalies, and it might be the case this year, especially with the shortened season and how close the games are back to back and everything. So it might be you're seeing a lot of back and forth between Allmark and Hutton.
I actually haven't heard about like the COVID things. So they shortened the season, and are they doing like region bubbles or whatever, like they did for other sports?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, not like bubbles, but divisions. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So
you're
gonna
like
play.
You play your division's got 7 teams. You only play those 7 teams.
Okay.
You play it like a baseball series. So say our first game's against Washington. We play against them 3 straight times, and then we'll play again. I think the Rangers, and we play them 3 straight times.
So if there's an outbreak in a team, the team's not going to play like 8 different teams, and then those teams are going to play 8 different teams, and everyone gets COVID.
It makes it easy to where if you have to cancel a series, you can just make up the series at the end of the season.
Yeah,
that's true.
The Sabres miss, they have an outbreak and that affects the Rangers series. Well, at the end of the series, both the Rangers and Sabres are behind X amount of games. Just play, have a Rangers Sabres series to catch up. And the season got down to 56 or 58 games.
56, I think. Okay, that's what it was.
So it's a shortened season.
Yeah, I'd be curious how the players feel about that, but I don't know if you guys
pay the same.
They want to play.
Okay.
And then for the taxi squad.
Yeah, sorry.
And then for the taxi squad, I went with Middlestad, which I don't even know if he deserves to be there. Asplund, or Asplund, I should pronounce it correctly. I wasn't super impressed by him, but he can play. CJ Smith, dude's barely had any experience, but I guess he's a local boy, so why not give him a shot?
CJ Smith is a local boy?
He's from Buffalo.
He doesn't have experience?
Yeah.
Your taxi squad, he's got the most experience.
I know, I'm saying like even in the NHL.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
Yes, that's what I mean, like NHL experience.
He actually has more experience than Sheehan does as a third line center.
Really?
Yeah, Sheehan's predominantly an AHL player when he was with Edmonton. He didn't score.
Where was he before that? Was he with Detroit?
I don't know. There's another Sheehan out there, so that might be why.
And then Irwin was that defenseman that we signed in the offseason. So I think he could be your 7th pair defenseman to throw in when somebody gets hurt. And then Cousins, I don't know how it's going to work with him because I don't know if he can be on the taxi squad if he's got to go back to the WHL. So I don't think he's going to make the team.
WHL?
Yeah.
What's that?
Western Hockey League.
It's
Canadian League.
Juniors.
It's junior.
Oh, neat. Okay.
He's a kid. He's 19. And then
wow. Okay.
Silver medalist.
Yeah. Oh, too bad he didn't win the gold.
No.
And then Dustin Tokarski is your goalie, as your 3rd goalie.
Your lines look similar to mine, but they're not the same.
I don't know if Jake's is 100% accurate, so I'm sorry if there's any typos. But do you have any comments or any discussion, Rick or Jake, about?
Yeah, they're wrong. Yours is wrong. Mine's right.
Failures.
Well, the one I sent Kyle is right. He might have messed something up.
All right.
No, I can't. Okay, I was talking about his.
Oh,
our top 6. I think you actually did mess up my top 6. No, is it the same top 6?
That's still mine.
Yeah, this is Sean's.
Okay.
Do you want yours?
Yeah. Yeah, our top 6 is the same exact stuff. So I don't even need to talk about the top 2 lines. 3rd line, I got Reeder and Thompson swapping because Thompson's more of a right winger than a left winger.
Yeah, but Tobias Reeder is a right winger, not a left winger.
He's a left winger. You can Google it. I did.
So did I. I thought it said right wing.
Cody Eakin, I have him as a 3rd line because they have a lot of high praise coming out. So I think your PTO guy, he's going to be on your 4th line. If you have to have a PTO guy that on your 3rd line, I think that's an issue. What does say? I think I had. Where did I see his stuff say? Right wing or left wing?
Yeah, he's a right wing.
Sheehan, 4th line. Akpos is 4th line. Asplund, I actually really liked Asplund. I thought he brought a lot of speed And Tobias Reeder, it says right wing, left wing position. So you can play both. The Sabre salary cap.
He can mirror himself.
Say per Wikipedia, he's a right winger. No,
Per NHL salary cap, he's right wing, left wing. The fuck yourself.
Well,
Yeah,
he's lying on his resume, Jake. He's just he can
maybe
also
Wikipedia, a website that I could change is wrong. Huh? Ever think of that?
Nope.
No.
You're not an authorized user.
I am. You just don't know
yeah,
it.
there's like a certification process.
I got certified. I went underneath the desk and opened my mouth. So yeah, that's my fourth line. Goalies, yeah, I got Allmark Hutton. I think Allmark's definitely the one. Hutton's the 2. If you wanted to do it 1A, 1B, then Allmark's definitely 1A, and Hutton's 1B.
What if they do one is 1 and the other is A?
I'm gonna fucking punch you in the dick.
Okay, don't do that.
Defense, I got Donnelly with Miller. I actually really liked Miller because I thought he brought a calming influence to the defensive core, which to me resembled Tillender, and Donnelly resembled Tyler Myers. So that worked out well last time.
True.
Ruslan and McCabe, I think they got the most chemistry with each other. And then I think Montour, Yokoharu. Montour, I'm not impressed with Montour.
Me either.
You had him on your first pairing.
Yeah, because the Dahlian's going to carry him. Didn't trust anybody else with him.
Darlene, I'm not impressed with Darlene either. I think Darlene's overrated right now. I think you draft him. Darlene, for instance, he came out as a quote-unquote generational talent, right? Well, now we're going to year 3, and you still haven't adjusted to the NHL. A generational talent shouldn't even need a full season to adjust. You should be adjusted. Offensively, he is great offensively. It's defensively and in the neutral zone. He gets lost.
He's a
and you're a defenseman. So if you want to be good offensively, hop up on the top 4 lines on forward. But you're a defenseman. Your number one goal is to stop goals. So that's why I'm hoping Miller can at least make up for the mistakes that Dahline's going to make. Montour, he just gets lost. He's got a good shot, but
when he hits the net.
Yeah, Yokoharu, I'm impressed with him. I was pretty impressed with him. Tax squad, yeah, we both have Middlestat. I have Lazar because I think he can fill into pretty much any role.
Maybe that's pretty much what he was last year. So it just
CJ Smith, I have in the same spot. Irwin, and then I got Borgen on your defensive core too, in case you have 2 guys. And then I got Tokarski as our third goalie. Cousins, there's talks about the juniors not playing, and if the juniors don't play, I read that those kids would be able to play in the AHL.
I did hear that too. Or they were going to try and make some amendment to allow them to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that Cousins goes to Rochester and gets top minutes in Rochester instead of
the experience
0 minutes in Buffalo.
And say, look how he did.
Maybe he comes up due to injury, but with it being a shortened season, you don't want to do experiments.
Nope.
You have, I say, it's 7-game tryout like you did with Reinhardt and Myers and all those kids, Middlestat. Those 7 games don't pan out. Well, guess what? Now you're out of the playoff race.
Yeah.
So
you can't have that happen.
Mess around with it. Nope. That's why I don't even have Jack Quinn even up here, and he's had a decent week as well in camp.
I don't see him making the team for a couple of years.
We'll see.
If that.
I know. See, I think he makes the team next year. I'll go. Kyle wants to put my ass on the seat. I'll say Quinn and Cousins both make the opening roster next year. Only because Stahl is done. He's done after this year. Eakin's a 1-year deal. He'll be done, and there you go. Quinn will be your third line center. To it, Jake. Your second line center.
No, I'm not.
Stahl. Yeah, that's my team.
I like it.
I like the colors. Also, I like that there's no typos, apparently. So that's pretty cool.
Stellar job, Cal.
Any thoughts about either of theirs, Rick?
No.
No? You think they're good?
Yeah, they're
fine.
I haven't paid much attention to hockey right now.
Okay. It is the football season.
The football season.
All right. Are we good with that then?
Splendid.
I like it.
You guys did a lot of research. I'm proud of you. That was good.
I've been watching Sabres games since it started.
I was really bored at work.
That's the reason you changed our chats and everything.
Yeah. That day I was
I can tell you were
really
bored.
bored.
All right. So last topic is ads in the NHL.
Well, do we have time to do this, or you got to go, Jake?
Let me know when you need me. I'm just gonna watch.
Do you got time for this, or you got to
All
go?
right. Who's
I'm
gonna
good.
give the
I
background?
can't miss this.
Who's gonna give the
This is
background?
sports
What's
movie.
the issue?
Of course.
They're starting to put ads on the hockey equipment the players are wearing. So it's on the
Like-
helmet rather than
Okay.
it being where the logo was. So it's on the helmet, like a lot of the European and minor leagues do it.
Okay. Do they have ads on the jerseys before?
No, they haven't done
Not
that
yet.
yet. NBA
Okay.
does that now.
Okay. So it's just on the helmets for now.
Yeah.
Okay. And I gather Rick is against it.
Greatly.
Let's start with that then. Why are you against it?
This year is not going to be that bad. It's going to be the future is what I'm thinking about, because ads in other sports, even like you look at the AHL, if you go and you purchase an AHL jersey right now, it'll have an ad on it. So that's obviously this year coming up. It's just on the helmet. Supposedly, too, it's not going to last more than a year. The NHL is saying they're only going to allow it to be 1 year, but that's money for the teams, and I'm sure the teams are not going to want that to go away because it's going to help them as far as that goes. On TV, watching the game, you're not going to see it. You're not going to notice it unless they do a close-up on a player. But that's where this is so much different from ads on a board or, the stadium sponsorships. This is actually on the player. So when you have, you're actually putting like the sponsor logo now has a face that goes with the sponsor. And that's generally how sponsors work. I mean, sponsors don't, it's not just we'll pay this place money and they'll put our logo up everywhere. They want, they want something in return. They're looking for a connection to be made between when you think, KeyBank or the Sabres, you're thinking of the opposite. So it's all about return. That goes for all these companies. When you think of the Washington Capitals, you think of Capital One because that's who's on their helmet. So my great fear is that it's going to continue on. They may put it on the jerseys at some point, or the gloves or the goalie pads. And at some point, because money talks, and that's how it works, I'm talking like 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you're going to end up having sponsors work fully around not the whole team, but more specifically to thinking of like a superstar player. Like by the time that baby Ovechkin is all grown up and he's in the NHL, what will a sponsor be for that? Because you'll have, and this is going from my knowledge of other sports that do have sponsors, bigger sports that have sponsors, not really like European hockey leagues because nobody watches those, being that the NHL is the premier, hockey league in the world. Other premier leagues that use sponsorships all have issues where the sponsorships, because they dump so much money into the team, they are actually part of decision making, where they bring, the people that come in onto the team, they're part of the decision making.
So
What
like if a
happens-
guy gets arrested for shooting his wife or something, I don't know. That's really bad.
Jesus.
For I don't know. Some crime that he gets
Terrible
off.
example.
It's a terrible example.
Okay,
No, I'm
he
talking
gets into a
DUI.
fight. He gets
But yes.
DUI. That's a good one. So
Ryan
he gets
O'Reilly gets drunk and drives into a Tim Hortons in Canada after signing a multi-million-dollar contract with the Buffalo Sabres.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the sponsors don't want to be associated with him, so they're like, "We're not going to sponsor you if he's on this team."
It can be not so much sponsored, but they're able to block players from coming because of they feel that player specifically would be a bad face for, their brand, bad for their brand. Other situations would be like there's a lot of players that have their own endorsements. If you have a player that has an endorsement with Mountain Dew and then he's a free agent, if a team is sponsored by Coca-Cola, you can't really do that. It's going to block that player going to that team because of the money that comes into it. Other situations might even be if a player, even in that sense, a player that used to be the face for one pop company and now is
Soda
wanted-
for our other viewers.
soda pop, wanted by a team that is the sponsor, that is a team sponsor of a rival company. They might not want that because that player has been in the past so associated with that company. And this is all stuff that actually, I know that it's not hockey, but in racing, in all four various forms of racing, the sponsorships take a great percentage of decision making. I mean, even in the NHL, like I've said, the NBC network has made decisions on who plays in the Winter Classic every year. How is it that you cannot think that Toronto Maple Leafs, the highest valued franchise in the NHL, the team that pretty much has the most fans and the craziest fan base in the NHL, they didn't want them in the Winter Classic because the NBC thought that nobody was going to watch it because the Maple Leafs were in it. Well, they weren't going to watch it. They were probably going to have 90,000 of the 110,000 seats in Detroit were going to be filled with Toronto fans, so they wouldn't be at home Toronto watching it because they'd be there. So it's the fear of the amount of money that this is going to, it's going to bring in money, and it's going to be good for the NHL, and I want the NHL to succeed and all the teams to succeed, but it's the fear of the future, 15, 20, 25 years down the road, once it becomes a bigger thing, being actually on the players. Like
Jake raised his hand, so
what?
Change the orientation.
I don't want to because I didn't want to interrupt your rant because I think you're absolutely 100% right, but I didn't want to lose my train of thought either.
Okay.
No, I'm on your side with this. I'm sorry, Sean.
We'll come back to you, Rick. Don't worry.
For one, it's visual optic. You just had the U.S. beat Canada in the gold medal game. All I could see were those beautiful USA sweaters and these shoulder advertisements blocking the star. Terrible. And this is a money grab, so that way when they're losing money on fan revenue, that they kind of break even with the pandemic. And like Rick's point, if you're the Sabres, if you're Pagula, you're not going to be going, all right, now we got fans in, now we're okay, we can get rid of the ads. No, it's going to be, oh, now we have fans, we can keep the ads and bring in even more money. And let's be honest with the NHL, they're playing catch up to pretty much every league out there, and that's including all the sub-soccer leagues that are over in Europe. This is not a new thing. Like you brought up basketball. Basketball's been doing it. Racing's doing it. KHL's been doing it. It's a money thing, and that's all teams wonder about. And it's going to be a constant thing. You're no longer going to get your helmet that says Buffalo on it like you had for those 40th anniversary jerseys that were freaking phenomenal, by the way.
Sure,
you're not going to get back. Right, yeah, I would love them back. But the ads, to me, it's a visual optic that's not going to be going away. It's a smart financial decision, but it's not going away as far as a ownership standpoint. And
go ahead, sorry.
It's just a small input, like you said, for the outdoor game. Yeah, they're going to want bigger control. And they just canceled outdoor games to reschedule different outdoor games.
Yep.
Like they're already flexing their muscles.
Yeah.
So it's not even just starting, and it's already taking hold.
All right. Before we get too deep, though, let's hear Sean.
I'm in too deep, and I'm trying to keep Sean off the Zoom call because he is wrong.
We need to give him some time, though. Oh, so Sean, how do you feel about this?
I don't think it's going to matter. I remember when there was no ads on the ice. I don't pay attention to ads. I'm watching the play of the game. I could give two shits about what's on somebody's jersey. They could be in all pink jerseys as long as somebody's going out there and producing and doing what they're supposed to do.
I don't know if I believe that, Sean.
Yeah, I know that's wrong because we play NHL, and the first thing you say is, well, those are some hideous jerseys.
Yes, that's in the video game. But other than that, when it's him,
and you make comments about the ads on the boards in the video game too.
Yes,
Ooh.
but doesn't take my focus away from the play of the game.
No, I'm not saying this. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's what you guys are saying. You guys are gonna draw your attention toward these ads on the jerseys, and it's like you guys aren't gonna be focusing on the game. You're worried about an ad. Who cares? My dad remembers when there wasn't ads on the boards. He doesn't even know that they're there now. I remember when there was no ads on the ice. Don't even notice that they're there. It's like it's just another thing. Yes, we're gonna be having them make money. Sure, it's perfect. Do we want the owners to make more money if they're not going to spend it on the teams? No, but if it's going to help the league, I'm all for it. But I mean, I really don't see it being too much of an issue. But to Ricky's point about players getting sponsorships and everything, what do they have now? Equipment sponsorships. Certain players use Warrior, certain players use CCM, certain players use Bauer. You know, you see those ads already all out there. Yes, they are hockey companies, but what's the difference from that? Oh,
That's a huge difference. Having a co-host sponsorship to a Pepsi, to Rick's point, is completely different.
Debate the money is the difference, and it's also
The power.
The Coho doesn't sponsor the entire team. It's not, it's not on every player. They didn't sign a contract with every team.
no,
It's
I know,
just
but you were
individual
saying
players.
having specific players be sponsored by stuff. Like I'm saying, Bauer's only going after the elite guys. Okay,
So are there any teams that are sponsored by hockey equipment that would be like, this person only wears Bowers, we can't have him on our team because we're CCM?
No, hockey equipment.
All the players have different.
Yeah.
their
Okay.
own
Like I think Hashik was Coho, I want to say.
Hashik was TPS.
So there's a little bit of precedent then, if any of the teams are actually sponsored by equipment too, that like they can.
I don't believe they are.
Teams will not be sponsored by hockey branding. It's the NBC branding. The ESPN will probably, because it's money and it's Disney, will probably throw its hat in the ring soon too. It's the sub parties like Pepsi or Coke, Subway, Hertz, Enterprise, all those advertisements that we already see will be throwing even more money for more power. And yeah, we see it and we don't recognize it. We don't look at it. But that's because it's on the outside. All right, fine, I'll give you that. But on the boards, you're not looking at the boards ever. But now it's, like I said, looking at the United States celebrate their gold medal. And all I see is that logo covering their jersey because it's not a minuscule thing. Just like the KHL. I'm not saying it's going to go right to the KHL, but it could eventually become the KHL, where all it is Hertz, Enterprise, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and the logo of the team, whatever you want to call it. I don't know their jerseys because they're weird-ass teams. But it's the power that they've already flexed, like NBC is obviously have already done. And I think they're just trying to do it while they can because you're going to have CBS throw their hat in the ring, Fox, ESPN, all those. But it's not like, that's all I see is that Subway ad. That's all I see. Oh, that was a great goal, but all I saw was that Subway ad.
Florida Subways.
It's wow, that's cool that they're celebrating, and it's like, oh, that's a nice jersey. Wish it didn't have that Subway ad covering the top of it. Yeah, it's not gonna the gameplay.
It breaks your immersion.
Gameplay at all. It's everything outside of the rink, pretty much, that it affects.
If it gets to a point to where the sponsorships can, when they start applying their input and being asked about players coming to the team, then it's going to affect.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Play.
Sure.
Which I said, like, that's not next year or the year after that. That's a ways down the road. But I believe that if they don't regulate somehow, that'll be it. And
yeah, I don't know. Like your example, if you're a Coke guy, you can't go on this team because they're a Pepsi team.
Because it's all about being.
Well, how many times do you see your rally racers? How many times they jump ship from Red Bull to Monster?
Like even like Formula One, you had what's his name?
That happens a lot. So I don't know if it's all right. It's Red Bull. I gotta stay on Red Bull teams. That's the only team you can jump ship.
It all depends.
There's
like
been time. Player get traded to New Jersey. You got to hand in all your blue and gold equipment. You can't just take that with you.
Yes, but there have been multiple times where a driver has moved. Casey Mears was driving. He drove a Kellogg's car for 3 years, and then when he went over to a different team that Cheerios was going to be a part of, they didn't put him in the Cheerios car. They moved a driver from somewhere else, put him in the Cheerios car, and put him elsewhere. So there are instances. That all depends on the sponsor. Some sponsorships probably don't care. Some do. So it all depends.
That to me is the biggest problem.
What's going to give them the best outcome or best return? Oh, yeah. Sweet. I got Jack Eichel. It's a sponsor of Mountain Dew. Jack Eichel leaves. Okay. Allmark, you're the sponsor of Mountain Dew now. No, we don't want that because you're not the best for that position. We're going to go to somebody else.
That's the problem. Is these companies are going to have money involved, therefore they're going to have say involved. Therefore, there's what's the saying goes: too many chiefs, not enough
Too many
Indians.
cooks. Too many
I
cooks
guess that's
spoil
a
the
less
soup.
profiling one.
Yeah, I assume that too. That soon, if the team sponsor has, a couple years left on their deal, and the star player of the team has a couple years left on his deal, and he's thinking about that sponsorship might not sign because they want to know if that guy's going to be there for the year that they re-signed for as well. So I think that's going to end up playing in hand with that. Also, I mean, as far as helping the teams, like I don't know if this team sponsorship would have done. I mean, would it have kept Atlanta around? And are the Coyotes going to be getting the same amount of money that the Rangers are getting for their helmet decals? It's that's the kind of stuff like
we don't even know the details of what they're getting.
Yeah, they haven't
sponsor-wise.
released anything for financials, but like as far as the NHL having sponsors for divisions, if they were to do that or conferences of the league, I really wouldn't care about that as long as it's going back to the team or something. I don't know how much the league just got paid $500 million for both the Vegas Golden Knights and the Seattle Kraken coming into the league. So I don't know how bad the league is actually doing. So I'm hoping that some of this money is going to be going to the teams. I would think that with a division sponsor, part of that would go to the teams and divisions. I don't know. So as far as helping teams, it's great, but I don't know if,
Yeah, I'm a little uneducated about this. I could say that about anything in this podcast. But is there a case in history where a team actually went bankrupt? Because I know NHL isn't that popular in the U.S. and there's parts that of the U.S. that can't sell out stadiums at all. Has there ever been a team that like has suffered so much financially that they've just quit?
I mean, I wouldn't say quit, but they have relocated.
Okay, so that's I guess
Sabres.
Why they sold them to another person and moved
Okay.
them.
So the owners are like, this isn't a financially viable option anymore. We're just going to sell it.
Countless times now.
Actually, that did happen to the Sabres.
Do you think that's
league had to take them? Yeah, that's currently happening to the Coyotes
because the owners were embezzling money. But
yeah.
So do you think? If this is legit, like short term, do you think we're still going to see a lot of teams being sold and stuff? And if so, is that bad for the league or is that just a necessary change?
I don't know if the sponsors on ads are going to help not teams being sold because you're still, I mean, if you have a team in a bad area that nobody cares about, I mean,
right.
I don't know how many people go to Florida Panther games, but I can't imagine much. But I don't think that, I mean, different sport, but I don't think that sponsors would help the Tampa Bay Rays collect people into their stadium. So I think that's going to be an issue. It might, I mean, the sponsor money might just help them, burn.
Yeah, I can't see the sponsor money being a balance for what revenue money on ticket sales would make up.
It all depends on you basing it off of what they're doing now. No, that won't save them. What they could be doing, yes, that could save them. True. If they just have ad after ad after ad after ad. Like even Minnesota, for instance, like I think Sabres their helmet are Roswell.
And
KeyBank. Yeah, we get two.
Where Minnesota's is XL Energy, and that's their stadium, arena. So like XL Energy has a huge pull in whatever happens to the Minnesota Wild right now. So it all depends on what ads they're doing, what the company is, how many of those ads are they doing. And so like right now, no, it probably wouldn't save a team from going bankrupt, but could it down the road if they keep adding ads after ad after ad from company after company after company?
Let's just say hypothetical.
And that's why it's a slippery slope, because each company that throws its hat in the ring, the owners just see money. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
that's why, like, you look at the European soccer leagues, there are so many terrible, like, little community soccer leagues that are technically in these premier leagues, but there's relegation, so they're not good, that are still in these leagues, though, because they have ad after ad after ad after ad after ad. So, like, literally, ads are paying for their leasing.
I was going to say something.
No, you're good. Just say, like, hypothetical, say these ads are $50,000 on the thing, so you throw a bunch of those on there. Yeah, okay, I guess I could see. you're adding up.
But it
Yeah,
sounds to
I
me
don't
like
think
it's a
Go ahead.
it's just delaying the inevitable. If these teams aren't financially viable, it seems like it's not because like for every fan they're not making so much money. It's just there's not enough fans. And that's adding ads isn't going to help you get fans. If anything, it's going to drive people away because
But
I personally don't like ads at all. And when I see them, I kind of get like, that's a lot of ads. It's not content. It's just buff. It's just stuff that you don't care about.
I'll say the Rays or Florida Panthers. I guess you just gotta stick with Florida teams. Like I don't have their numbers in front of me, but I'm curious is how much of their money lost is just out of pure fans going to the games.
Yeah, what's their
Which is not an unnormal thing now because of streaming, because of all these TV deals. And how much, I mean, TV deals, I guess, go back to the teams, but streaming, we just watched the Canadian team off of YouTube or before that off of Reddit. Like, they didn't get any money. The IIHF didn't get a single dime from us watching it. So I think a lot of teams are suffering because of that. So they might say Florida Panthers, which I doubt this is the case, but it could be. They actually do have lots of fans out there. They're just watching at home.
at home?
And that's why the ads are a visual thing. And I can't speak for Rick, but for me, my gripe with this is the beginning of the end. It's not we're at the end. This is the beginning of the end. So this opens up an avenue of so many what ifs or what can be that's what concerns me. Yeah, not right now. No, them having helmet decals, that doesn't ruin my day. But they don't have anything on their jerseys like the Americans did, and that did ruin my night. Because those are beautiful jerseys that they ruined. And the Chicago Blackhawks supposedly have the best jerseys in all of sports, which I don't agree with. But imagine that with logos or with ads on it. You know, it's one of those things. It's just it's a blemish. And
I'll put a bet that by the time that you guys are picking up EA Sports NHL 41,
I won't be buying NHL at that point, but
there will
it's
be
in VR.
in
You're actually
VR.
just playing hockey. You have a treadmill with skates on, and you're actually just playing hockey in your living room.
I'll put a bet that when you guys go and you play the GM role system that you guys do in there, that there will be players on teams that you cannot acquire because of the branding and how deep the branding is with that player and that team, that they can't be moved because that's how
I don't agree with that.
That's in racing games, man.
But that's not in soccer games. You can get messy if you.
Yeah, I feel like
against it.
the contracts for individual athletes that aren't part of a team are probably different than the contracts for players that are part of a team.
Racing, there are teams though.
Okay.
Like, yes, it's individual accolades, but it also say, this driver wins. Well, it also counts towards a Ford win.
Okay.
Whatever, insert car brand.
This is Red Bull's team. They have so many drivers. This is Renault's team. They have so many drivers. This is Haas Stewart or Haas.
A little bit. I get what you're trying to say, but it's tough. Racing is just a unique thing.
So they
I just don't want us to turn into the KHL where you don't know what is the actual team logo. That's literally it. I don't want that.
I don't want it to get to it.
I don't want it to be like Ricky's example of I want a Maple Leafs versus Sabres battle at the border outdoor game. How we haven't gotten that yet is beyond me. But it's because of NBC not thinking that it's gonna generate enough revenue, and that's what they care about.
Yeah, that's
because
all
they're looking at TV.
Sabres
they're not looking
haven't
at Fallon Stadium.
Yep.
That's the reason why the Sabres haven't had a home outdoor game since the Orchard Park. And I am not counting the City Field because that is not a home outdoor game. That is a New York City metro area.
Cheated us out of a home game.
So but it was about revenue. That's what it was. And that's what they are already making decisions as a sponsorship that affects the league.
Yeah, well, that's why they don't want to do like an Eichel versus McDavid either, you know.
Yeah, that's it. That is affected by a sponsorship decision.
I have a couple of thoughts.
I love your thoughts, Kyle.
Thank you. I don't know if that's
Brain
sarcasm,
fuck.
but I'm going to take it as a compliment. So, if the NHL is smart, they would put in rules that prevent like contract disputes, preventing trades and stuff like that. They should give total authority to like the people who make the decisions for the teams, and make rules that prevent the sponsors from interfering. I don't know if they will, because they also want money, but that's my biggest takeaway from this. I don't know a whole lot about the situation, so take it with a grain of salt. Is corporations will take every inch they possibly can to make more money. That's why we have government regulations, because they push right up against them. And if there weren't, then they would just do everything in their power all the time. If they could, they would, Subway would buy a hockey team and be, just be the Subway team, and they would have Subway gear and some sandwich-based logos and stuff like that. And they would just take it to the extreme. So there has to be regulation on it. And it sounds like they're trying, at least if you guys said it's temporary, like this year only. So maybe if
they've never done it before. So
yeah,
if it works,
if the league,
and they like it, it could continue.
Which
Yeah,
just
the
like
league-
I'm sure this started similar to ice logos, board logos, all that.
yeah. So I guess
True.
it depends on how the league reacts and how the fans react, because the fans do have power. They have more power than they ever have because of social media and stuff. But I don't know if people are upset enough about it in general.
This type of decision, the fans don't have any power.
I will
I'm sorry, but that's an ignorant thing to think about. Like they don't.
They have a little power.
Ownership. No, they don't.
Not at all.
The ownership, it's
Yeah.
the complete ownership power. If the owners like the money coming in,
That's
They'll
what they
do it.
say goes.
Yep.
And that clearly proved a point that the fans have nothing to do with what goes on, especially with the Sabres organization, because we had everybody harping on the Pagulas about making moves and doing this, and they came out and said, oh, well, we know a little bit more than the fans, and then 2 weeks later
they flat out said we know more than
Yeah.
what the average
in
fan
an
knows.
interview said that. Like, you're just trying to drive your fans away. Why would you
Yeah,
so that's just them flexing their muscles. Hey, we got the money and the power.
And if ads allow teams to survive during a pandemic, why would they get rid of it?
yeah. But it would have to fall to the NHL, because I don't think the teams themselves are probably going to do it, because they're out to make money, like the executives. But
That's
I do want to
NHL
say,
is fine. It'll make money. It goes to the NHL. It goes to the ownership. The owners and NHL are on the same side on this table, this bargaining table. You know who's on this table at all is the NHLPA. And that's where I think it gets foggy with player movement
How
and
is this,
stuff like that.
and how is this going to contribute back to the players too? Are the players going to get a piece of this pie for?
No, because their paycheck is signed by Terry Pagula. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm.
do they
And
get?
their extra money will come from advertisements, whether it with like individual advertisements of whether it's equipment or commercializing media.
Do
Concessions.
players get money
I'm
for
gonna wipe my
jerseys
face
too?
with a Toyota towel in between intermissions, so they'll pay me extra money. Like it's funny, but that's true shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Damn.
I
Do
mean,
the
I don't-
players get money for jerseys?
Yeah,
I-
they get for when their
do you mean?
jerseys sell, they get a small amount. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I buy a Eichel jersey, I don't know if it'll have a ad on it down the road or whatever.
Maybe AHL does.
Do they?
Yep.
Well,
I
then
will
there you
say-
go. So your money also goes to Jack Eichel, goes to Sabres, and will go to Subway, for instance.
I will say this: the only thing I'm really not, or hoping that it doesn't happen with this ads going forward. I hope it's not going to like rename the awards the Honda Stanley Cup.
Oh yeah, absolutely, it's
good.
coming.
I can't like because
Why would you?
do
They,
it with the
they
bowl
rename
games.
the divisions. Why wouldn't they name awards?
That's the only thing I don't want to have. The
Mhm.
Bill Masterson Award, I can see maybe sponsored by, but I don't want it to be renamed.
The Honda Classic All-Star Game. Oh, they already done that, don't they? They will add an ad to anything because it's money.
I'm saying like the Red Bull Heart Trophy, you know, like
yeah.
it's the only thing I don't want to happen.
What's the benchmark? NHL 41? Is that what we're doing? By NHL 41, yeah, I bet you there will be sponsorships onto these awards.
Now, I don't believe this will happen in the NHL at all. If it did, I would be completely done with the sport. But for what NASCAR did, from the time that they started up until 2003, it was always the NASCAR Winston Cup. It was sponsored by Winston Cigarettes. In 2004, Sprint cell phone company took over, and it became the NASCAR Sprint Cup. They changed their championship trophy because their previous trophy was so associated with Winston that we needed a new one. And then in 2016, 15, 16, it became the Monster Energy Cup. They changed that championship trophy again because it couldn't be the Sprint Cup. It needed to be a new championship trophy.
I don't think
it'll never happen for the
championships are gonna get
NHL.
messed with.
No.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to be like, oh, this is now George's Cup.
This is the Red Bull Hart Trophy Cup. Like, Hart Trophy.
Trophies, like awards, I think so, but championships, I don't think get touched. I do it. Sure, Red Bull, we'll use that. I could easily see them saying this is the Red Bull Hart Award,
Yeah,
or
but
this
you
is a
think they'll
Hart
actually
Award
change the
presented by
trophy?
Red Bull.
And then
I
it'll have a
could
Red
see
Bull
that.
logo on it.
That's the same thing. That's the same thing with these divisions. This is the East Division brought to you by Honda
Yeah,
or
but
whatever.
I'm worried that they're going to change the whole name of the trophy in general. Is what I'm talking.
I think if we have
Red Bull
to,
Hart Trophy, is like what I'm saying. If it's sponsored
yeah,
by,
but if
sure.
you do presented by, you're not going to see their name. You're going to see when you get their award, you're going to see Hart Trophy by Honda, presented by Honda. Winner is that's changing the name, just like they changed the divisions names. We're not calling them like we're calling them the East Division, North Division, whatever. But they're not just called the East Division. That's just us simplifying it. They still will have the names on these. They might even have a freaking Red Bull logo inscribed on the trophy. It might not be like a Red Bull trophy, but it might be like on the side of the nameplate.
I almost wonder if they were because they did the whole sponsorship thing for the divisions after they picked the divisions. If they would have decided to sponsor divisions prior to, it would probably just be the Discover division and whatever we are. I don't know what Buffalo's in.
I can't even tell you.
So Scotiabank is one. It'd probably
That's
just be
the
the
Canada one.
Scotiabank division. Yeah,
No, it's not even
Oh.
Scotia Bank. It's just Scotia.
Scotia. So I mean, it's at some point the divisions might end up leaning that way, maybe. But I mean, this year's all goofy and different. So, like I said, they say that it's only going to be 1 year. I don't really believe it. I would love it for it to only be 1 year, but money talks, man.
It's in every other hockey league except the NHL. Like I said, NHL is playing catch up to everybody in hockey and outside of hockey.
Or the lowest.
It's just like
of the major
the
sports.
golf tournaments. Golf tournaments are brought to you by or sponsored by this whatever FedEx tournament.
All right, I think we should start wrapping it up. Final thoughts, Sean.
Ads suck. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I mean,
Okay, do you want to go second or third? Let's go. Final thoughts, Jake.
Ads suck. Done. Go
Right.
Bills.
Oh, my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing. I'm all good.
All right.
Yeah, this year's gonna be. I don't know. This
My
year's gonna be-
ads suck and so far been the most enlightening one.
This year and 5 years from now, the ads aren't going to be a big deal. You're not going to notice them, but it'll all depend on how much power they want and how much money they think is going to be, worth it to dump into these teams, and that changes opinions of everybody involved that's receiving the money.
I have one more final thought too.
Okay,
Like
fine.
you said, down the road we won't notice this stuff. But it's like the trapezoid behind the net. When it first got implemented, we definitely noticed it.
Yeah.
Now it's
That's
second
a
nature.
rule change, though.
It's a visual change.
Yeah, but that's also that affects the gameplay.
Yeah, I get that, but it's a visual change. That's what we're discussing right here, right? So because it's not a rule change, that's why or because it is a rule change, that's why we notice it? No, it's because we see it on the ice. It's been painted on the ice.
And you're supposed to pay attention to it, though.
It's just like, if that was the case, if it was so ingrained onto the ice that we just don't even notice it, why do they write Stanley Cup playoffs on the ice at every arena?
A sponsor.
Exactly. But we notice it. If you say you don't notice it, you're lying to me completely. Because you absolutely do notice it. Because I've seen comments from all of us saying, except Kyle, because Kyle, sorry, you just don't pay attention to this stuff. We all say, wow, that looks nice. Or, that doesn't look that great. We notice. These are things we notice.
Yeah, but that's not that big to me. But okay.
All right. Sean, any final thoughts?
I mean, the helmet ads, I don't think it's going to be a huge deal this year, so we'll see how it goes. But going forward, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of them being on jerseys and everything, but I just don't see it being too much of a blemish. But
Okay.
that's my opinion.
I will say ads suck except for ads that sponsor podcasts. Those ads are great. I love those ads.
That's where you throw in an ad read, Kyle. What do you got? Go.
So,
We're throwing Subway and Monster and Red Bull around.
Yeah.
Congratulations, free publicity. You're welcome.
But I also want to say too, I think the fans have more power. I know it's not a lot, but if enough people get upset and boycott games or something, I think they could.
Fans going to games now, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean,
literally, there is 0 fans going to games. You just did an entire playoffs without fans. You want no fans? You got it for the last season, half a season, and you're starting this season with no fans too.
Owners are pissed. They spent all that money on seats,
and they're still flourishing. They don't need you. They don't need me.
But they got to make some money somehow. And if the fans aren't buying equipment or jerseys or merchandise, if they're not, watching the game on TV because there's too many ads and it's annoying, they might. I don't. It'll have to go to a certain point that something happens and enough people get pissed off. It's not going to happen right now, probably, especially because they're so starved for sports. But yeah,
anymore.
I think what
8 months ago, I agree with you, but now every sport is back.
That's true.
In some form of capacity, every form of sport is back. We're not starving for it anymore. Now, as a Buffalo fan, we're starving for success.
Aha.
And we haven't had that, especially on the Sabres end, and we've been bitching to the entire organization, and they don't listen to us. We wanted royal blue jerseys for the last 10 years, and they finally just gave it to us. Mm-hmm. We wanted them to do the 50th anniversary of wear that decade jersey on that night, and they still didn't even do that.
We wanted royal blue jerseys. We get them, and now we have a red key at our helmet.
Yes, you're right. They don't care. We have no power.
Well, if enough podcasts come out yelling at the Sabres, maybe they will.
No, there was a fan. His name's Dwayne on WGR. Look him up, and he went on a 20-minute rant and became very locally famous for his rant, calling the Sabres their shit and everything. Yeah. They don't care, and that Dwayne part is the reason why Kim Bagula came out and said, "We know more than the fans do." Those are. I'm not even paraphrasing. Those are her exact words. Yep.
Damn.
For you as an organization to come out and say, shut the fuck up and just watch and buy our stuff. No, we don't. That proves you don't have power. We hate you. Sorry.
Please pay us money.
The only power we have is spending our money. That's it. And that's as far as it goes. It doesn't go up to the chain. That doesn't affect that they spend their money on Jack Eichel or that they make the playoffs or anything. That literally just goes right into their pocket. They don't even say thank you. They just they buy the gas for their big ass freaking vehicles, and then they go on to their super yacht that they had to put on hold because of the pandemic. That literally happened too. Yep. So go fuck themselves. We don't have power. Oh, shut up, Kyle.
I'm interested now. So, are there any organizations that do listen to their fans, and are they more are they more well liked by their fans as a result?
There's a whole new league now.
Yeah, well, that's
the Packers.
I'd say there is one. The Packers are the owner. Fans are the owners. They're 49% of the fans own share, but they don't really have anything to do with it.
Well, 40 years ago too.
But they really have nothing to do with it. But yes, they technically have a say in the company, but it really doesn't matter.
But yeah, so there's at the moment there's not a lot of owners that actually listen to what the fans want.
Why would they?
Because
they made their money elsewhere. This is just a business.
Yeah, if I was an owner, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
All right. Say you're an owner of the Sabres. We'll just use them because they're local for me and you. They were local for the other two. You're the owner for the Sabres. You're going to Subway. You can keep name dropping Subway until we get free subs. You're going to Subway, and I come up to you and say, "Hey, I really think you should trade Jack Eichel." You can get a lot in return for him. Just think of what you could rebuild with as much as you get back. Then you do that move. You inform your GM to do that move, or if you're Jerry Jones,
Do it on your own.
a role like Jerry Jones, and you do that move yourself.
Yeah.
You do that move and it doesn't work out. Who's that on? Is that on you or the idiot at Subway?
You don't just do what the fans want without regard. You kind of you take what they want into account with your decision making. So if there's like a fan favorite that Buffalo historically likes, you maybe pay them a little extra to keep them, that kind of thing.
Any idea that any idiot, including myself, comes up with on the streets, if their team of professional geniuses that are in their offices don't come up with that, then they're a failure of an organization, i.e. the Florida Panthers, Buffalo Sabres, teams like that.
Okay.
So no, I don't think you should listen to fans. I think you should
take them into account.
You should listen to the people you're paying.
I think the fans should rise up and take back.
Storm the Capitol.
I think it comes down to, I mean, obviously as a fan, you know what players you want on the team, but it's getting the player to the team. You have all the negotiations, everything that goes on behind closed doors. The fans have no idea what's happening.
As a fan, you can't. It is impossible to remove your emotional decision from it.
And transparency is nice.
Kevin Adams, the new GM, he is paid to make the best decisions for that team, emotional, non-emotional, whatever. But if I don't like that move, I'm just going to call him out on it. It doesn't mean it's the right thing.
Well, in that case, I think transparency is important, where you're like, I know the fans wanted this decision, but we made this decision for these reasons, that kind of thing. I think that goes a long way for a lot of the hardcore fans.
They don't disclose that shit, though.
They don't, because they don't have to.
No.
I agree. It would be nice.
Because we did.
It sure would be nice, but they don't need to. And they've proven financially they don't need to. And it's financially is the only league or whatever that they care about.
Well, we'll see if a lot of teams get moved around. But yeah, sorry, we kind of added on the any other thoughts about fan power
there is none
in the NHL. Is there any sports where the fans do have power?
Yeah, it's a new football league. I forgot what it's called. It's brand new.
Fans call the plays.
Yeah, it looks horrendous. They call the plays and they call if they want.
Okay, that's too much power.
Wanted power. What you wish for. Great power comes great responsibility.
I appreciate owners who at least have a conversation with the public and inform them and stuff. But I'm not a fan of most teams. So,
but they can have conversations with the public, sure, but then they still go and do what they want to do in general.
Yeah.
Or they say they're gonna do it and then they do it, but we still don't like it. Like, what further did they get?
Right.
Then at least you know why. You're not like, why are they so stupid? And you're like, oh, that's some rational reasoning.
You want to know why they didn't change jerseys per decade for their 50th anniversary? It's because they didn't fill it in the deadline.
Yeah, they didn't
care to fill it in. They had to have that plan set in motion at a certain date, and they didn't even try to do it then.
Yep.
Well, that's why transparency is good too, because then you can be like, wow,
I know why they didn't do it. Do I sound happier?
But now you can.
Annoyed. In fact, I'm even more annoyed.
Right?
You can be legitimately annoyed now. It's not like they had some
blamed
plan.
the league, but now I gotta blame my team.
But that's the most likely way to get change is blaming the right people. As the whole issue.
The only way you can actually change an organization is change ownership. And if you have to change ownership, that means your organization is so far in the hole that there's no coming out of it for a long, long time.
All right. That's fair.
Yeah, and they're done that a couple times.
Yep.
It's fun. Not really. It's fun to have your football organization tied to Donald Trump and Bon Jovi.
All right.
And a Canadian company.
Any other thoughts before we close?
Fuck you, Kyle.
Sorry.
Got me all flustered. I gotta leave soon for my game. I'm gonna punch somebody in the face, and they're gonna be like, "Why?" I'm like, "Well, it's because
Kyle."
Just have transparency.
My next guy
for these reasons.
Sit down and talk.
Sean, because of ads. I fucking hate ads. Bah!
You have a chin.
Yeah.
My God. Be careful. All right. I think that's good. Thank you for watching Beer League Bench Warmers. Have a good playoffs.